All right, so the second part of 2.8 here, I am on the second page of your note packet. And again, you want to make sure that you're writing things down on this because there's quite a bit to this. I know that you've done this before, but there's quite a bit to this to make sure you write this stuff down. So now, in this video, we're going to be graphing absolute value inequalities. So essentially the same thing you've been doing the last 2 days, except now what we have to do is we have to decide, all right, is it a solid or dashed line? And are we shading above or below the vertex? Okay, so again, if there's no line underneath, it's a dashed line. If there is a line underneath, it'll be a solid line. If it's less than or equal to, we are going to shade it below the vertex. Now, this one's going to be a little bit different than linear ones, okay? It's below the vertex. If it's greater than or equal to, we shade this thing above the vertex. Remember, the shape of your graph will always be a V. It might be up, might be down, but it'll always be a V. Okay, so let's take a look here at this first example. Now, absolute value inequalities right here. Let's take a look here. All right, so the very first thing I want to do is figure out, okay, what's my A, what's my H, and what's my K? Well, in this case, A, there is no A value there, so that means that the A value is 1. Okay. The H value, again, this is one of the things that we seem to keep messing up on, that we got to make sure we get cleaned up. The H value, in this case, has a number. Okay, it's inside the absolute value with the X, so the H value is the opposite of that number, which means the H value is -1. There is no K value out here. Since there's no K value, that's going to be 0. So my vertex is the ordered pair -1 and 0, which tells me I'm going to go left 1. Okay, so I'm going to go left 1 and put a dot. And let's make it a little bit smaller here. Left 1, put a dot. Right, oh, that's a little too small. We can make this guy a little bit bigger, and left 1 and put, there we go, we put a dot. Okay, now because my A value is 1, that tells me that it's 1 over 1. That tells me I'm going to go up 1 and I'm going to go right 1 from this dot. So I go up 1, right 1, put a dot, up 1, right 1, put a dot. Now, if you remember the axis of symmetry, okay, the axis of symmetry, and again, make sure I got my colors right this time. I'm pretty certain that's yellow. So this is the axis of symmetry. That's the middle part. And now I want to flip my sides. So again, these guys are both 1 unit. This guy's 1 unit away, so I go across here 1 unit. And the top guy is 2 units away, so I go 2 units. And now comes the part where we got to figure out some information, okay? So as I look at this thing, I'm looking at this symbol again, okay? Just like a linear one, it's either going to tell me solid or dashed. Because there's a line underneath, this is going to be a solid line, so this is going to be solid V that way. And a solid V this way. Okay, so that's a solid V. And now it's also less than or equal to. So I'm going to shade below the vertex. As I look at this, here's the vertex right here. I want to shade everything below. So is this going to be inside or outside of the V? Well, it's going to be outside the V. So I want to shade below my vertex just like so. So I'm just like a line. I'm just going to draw arrows like this. I don't need to color this all in. Okay, so my solution is anywhere that's in the shaded region. Okay, all right, so next example. Let's take a look at this next one that we're going to go through here. This one's a little bit different, and I'm going to change this. Okay, so I'm going to change this equation right now. We're going to make this equation, and you can scratch that out on your sheet. This is going to be y is greater than 2 times the absolute value of x minus 1 and plus 4. So we don't need this anymore. Okay, this is going to be our equation. So in this case, my a value is 2, or 2 over 1. My h value is the opposite of what's inside the absolute value. That's positive 1 then. And the k value is 4. So my vertex is the ordered pair 1, 4. Okay, that's the ordered pair 1, 4. That tells me I'm going to go right 1, and I'm going to go up 4, right 1 and up 4, and I'm going to put a dot. That's where my vertex is. Okay. Now I want to look at my a value, because again, my a value tells me I'm going to go up 2, I'm going to go right 1, and then I'm going to put a dot. So from the vertex, I go up 2, I go right 1, I'm going to put a dot right there. And then from that one point I just wrote, up 2 and right 1 more, just like so. Again, my axis of symmetry coming down. Whoops, that was terrible. Let's try that again. That's a little bit better. We'll steady your hand there. Okay, so the yellow line's my axis of symmetry. That means the right side has to be the exact same as the left. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to flip these guys over 1 point to the left. So that guy's going to be there. Whoops. Don't want to make that in yellow. Let's go one guy there. Okay. And then this guy is going to be 2 spots up. All right. So now that I've got my dots pointed, and again, that's the same process we just got done through and we just got done using with our absolute values. Okay. So now the next part, what I'm going to do here is I got to figure out, is it solid or dashed? So here's my symbol. This guy's going to be a dashed curve, or a dashed line, I mean. So there's my V. And you'll see what I do here. I take the eraser, and I'm going to make it a little bit smaller on this one, since, like so. Since it's a little bit smaller and tighter in there, like so. And now I have a dashed line. Okay. So I've got a dashed line. And now this is greater than. Okay, so this symbol up here that I'm looking at is greater than. Therefore, I'm going to shade above the vertex. Again, here's the vertex. Above the vertex happens to be inside the V, not outside the V this time. So, draw my arrows here on the inside of the V, just like so. That's where I shade. Okay? So again, this is very similar to what you did the last couple days with your absolute values. Only one, essentially 2 more steps. Is it solid or dashed, and which way do I shade? Should be able to complete those questions now.